silver light exploded from Arya's skin. The unnatural fire filling the corridor recoiled from her, and wolves crashed to the floor with their heads bowed. Even an alpha dropped to one knee. Only days earlier, Arya Blackwood had still been Silver Creek's wolfless disgrace, 1 week away from losing her family name and being reduced to Omega. Now something ancient had awakened inside her, and for the first time, the woman who had spent years keeping Arya weak looked terrified. But what exactly had Arya become? Chapter 1. The Broken Daughter. Every wolf was supposed to meet their destiny on their 18th birthday. That was the promise pups in the Silver Creek pack grew up hearing. When the time came, the moon goddess would reveal the wolf sleeping inside them. Arya Blackwood was about to discover that some destinies were valued more than others, and that the pack she had always called family might rather destroy her than allow her to claim her own. The whispers began on the morning of Arya's 18th birthday. They were not the excited whispers that surrounded other young wolves before their first transformation. These were cruel, familiar, wolfless, broken, worthless. Arya had heard those words for most of her life, but today they carried a different weight. Today was the day she was supposed to shift, and still, nothing had happened. Arya stood before the cracked mirror in the servants' quarters, studying the girl staring back at her. 18 years old, plain brown hair that never seemed to shine the way other she-wolves' hair did. Gray eyes her mother had once called storm-colored. Before everything changed, there was nothing especially beautiful or memorable about Arya's face. She simply existed. "Happy birthday to me," she whispered. Her fingers brushed the thin scar above her left eyebrow, left behind by one of Lyanna's so-called training accidents 3 years earlier. Outside, preparations were already underway for that evening's full moon ceremony. But the celebration was not for Arya. It was for Lyanna Blackwood, the golden daughter of Silver Creek. Lyanna's wolf had appeared when she was only 17, a full year early. Her transformation had revealed a magnificent white wolf filled with alpha power, and almost the entire pack had bowed in awe. Lyanna possessed everything Arya was supposed to have. "Don't think about it," Arya told herself. She pulled her hair into a simple braid. Just survive today, the same way she had survived every other day. But this birthday felt heavier. 18 years of rejection seemed to press down on her shoulders, every painful memory adding another stone to the weight. Arya entered the packhouse kitchen through the servants' door. Chaos had already taken over. Omega wolves hurried between tables and ovens, preparing the enormous feast for Lyanna's ceremony. Of course, Lyanna could not simply have a normal full moon gathering. Her celebration had to be spectacular. Arya. Omega Teresa spotted her and immediately placed a tray of crystal glasses into her hands. "Polish these and set them in the grand hall, and stay close to the walls." Arya looked up. "Lady Blackwood's orders," Teresa explained quietly. "She doesn't want you casting a shadow over Lyanna's special night." Arya's fingers tightened around the tray. Lady Blackwood, not her stepmother, not even Luna Blackwood, just Lady Blackwood. Of course. Teresa's expression softened. She had known Arya's mother before she died, when Arya was only 7, before everything had fallen apart. "I saved you a berry tart," Teresa whispered. "It's in the cold pantry, wrapped in cloth." The simple kindness tightened Arya's throat. "For my birthday?" Teresa nodded. "Thank you. Don't thank me. Just keep your head down tonight." Something in Teresa's voice changed. "I've heard things." Arya went still. "What things?" "The council has been pressuring your father. They want him to make decisions about pack members who can't shift." Cold spread through Arya's blood. What kind of decisions? But someone called Teresa from across the kitchen. The older Omega hurried away before answering. Arya carried the glasses through the corridors of the pack house. She had been born here. Technically, it was still her home, but she had not truly belonged inside these walls since her father, Alpha Gabriel Blackwood, had taken Lady Vivian as his second mate less than a year after Arya's mother died. Vivian arrived with her daughter Lyanna. Then, piece by piece, Vivian erased every trace of Arya's mother from the house. Portraits disappeared. Possessions vanished. Memories became forbidden subjects. And slowly, Vivian whispered enough poison into Gabriel's ears that the father who had once adored Arya began looking at her with disappointment instead of love. The grand hall had been covered in silver and white decorations. Arya moved silently along the walls, setting each crystal glass exactly where the seating plan required. She had become skilled at invisibility. She knew how to enter a room without being noticed, how to work without making noise, how to exist without giving anyone a reason to remember she was there. Careful with those, mongrel. They're worth more than you are. Arya's shoulders stiffened. She did not need to turn around. Lyanna Blackwood stood in the doorway. She wore an expensive white dress and looked exactly like the daughter an alpha would proudly display before his pack. She was tall and graceful, with golden hair cascading over her shoulders and emerald eyes bright with confidence. Or cruelty disguised as confidence. Behind her stood Kara and Melissa, daughters of powerful pack families and permanent members of Lyanna's little court. Both already had wolves. Both understood exactly how much social power that gave them. "I am being careful," Arya said. She refused to react. Never take the bait. Lyanna walked deeper into the hall as though she already owned it. And someday, perhaps she would. Because Lyanna could shift. Because Lyanna had alpha potential. Because Lyanna was already being prepared to inherit Silver Creek. Never mind that Arya was Gabriel Blackwood's eldest daughter. Never mind that Blackwood blood ran through Arya's veins too. "It's your birthday as well, isn't it?" Lyanna asked sweetly. Arya kept working. "Yes. 18. Lyanna tapped one polished fingernail against her lips. "The age when your wolf is supposed to appear." She paused dramatically. "Oh." Kara giggled. Melissa covered her mouth. "You don't have one." Lyanna gave Arya a false look of sympathy. "How unfortunate." "Lyanna, I have work to do." "Of course you do. Work is all wolfless things are useful for." Lyanna slowly circled her. "Serving their betters." Arya kept her gaze on the glasses. "Mother says father is finally going to do something about you." Her hands stopped. "About the embarrassment you bring to the Blackwood name." Arya forced herself to breathe. "I haven't done anything wrong." Lyanna stepped closer. "You exist." Her voice dropped. "That's wrong enough." Arya looked at her. "A wolfless daughter born from an alpha bloodline is unnatural," Lyanna continued. "It makes the pack look weak." She leaned toward Arya's ear. "It makes father look weak." Then she pulled away. "So tonight, after my ceremony, when I stand before the pack as the acknowledged heir." Lyanna smiled. "Changes are coming." Kara and Melissa laughed behind her. Arya swallowed. "I'm still your sister. Half-sister." Lyanna's expression hardened. And barely that. She stared directly into Arya's eyes. "You're a mistake, Arya. A defect. And mistakes get corrected." Lyanna and her friends swept from the hall. Arya remained alone among the silver decorations and crystal glasses. Her reflection stared back at her from a dozen polished surfaces. Her hands began trembling. "Don't cry." She placed the tray down before she dropped it. "Don't give them that." But the tears came anyway. This grand hall should have been celebrating her 18th birthday too. Her father should have looked at her with pride. Instead, tonight might become something much worse than another humiliation. It might be the night she lost everything. A quiet cough came from the doorway. Arya wiped her face quickly. Crying won't help. She turned. Grandmother Esther stood in the shadows. Gabriel's mother, Silver Creek's former Luna, and the only person in the Blackwood family who still treated Arya as if she belonged. "Grandmother, I didn't hear you." "That's because you were too busy feeling sorry for yourself. From anyone else, the words would have hurt. From Esther, They were almost comforting. At least her grandmother never lied to her. Liana said father is planning something. Gabriel is a fool being dragged around by that viper he married. Esther's voice was sharp. But he is still my son, and he is still your father. Blood and pack bonds are not so easily erased. Arya looked down. But I don't have a wolf. How can I have a real pack bond without one? Hush. Esther caught Arya beneath the chin and forced her to look up. Your mother was the strongest Luna this pack ever had. Arya stopped breathing for a moment. Esther almost never spoke about her mother. Do you know why? Arya shook her head. Because Serafina understood something most wolves never do. Strength does not come in only one form. Esther's fingers tightened slightly. Your mother did not manifest her wolf until she was 19. Arya stared at her. 19? Late by every standard. Esther nodded. People whispered about her too. They called her weak, broken, defective. Arya's heart began beating faster. And then, when Serafina finally shifted, her wolf was unlike anything the pack had ever seen. Esther's voice softened. Silver fur, rare as starlight, power like moonlight made flesh. Hope flickered inside Arya. But I'm already 18. It should have happened. Should, could, would. Esther waved one hand dismissively. The moon goddess does not obey our schedules. Arya looked away. What if she forgot me? Esther's expression softened. What if there really is nothing inside me? Then you find another way to survive. The answer was simple. Hard. Honest. Esther straightened. Now stop crying and finish your work. And when you stand beneath that moon tonight, you hold your head high. She pointed toward Arya. You are a Blackwood whether they acknowledge it or not. Act like one. Esther disappeared as quietly as she had arrived. Arya remained in the empty hall. Hope battled despair inside her. What if grandmother was right? What if her wolf was simply late? But doubt quickly returned. 18 years. 18 years of being different. Wrong. Broken. Why should tonight be any different? Outside the windows, the sun slowly descended toward the horizon. Soon the full moon would rise, and Arya Blackwood was about to learn exactly how cruel destiny could become. Chapter 2. The Ceremony of Shame. The full moon rose above the sacred clearing like a silver eye. Arya stood at the very back of the gathered Silver Creek pack. Her position had not been chosen, it had been assigned. Wolfless members stood at the edges. Always at the edges, far enough away that their supposed deficiency would not taint the sacred ceremony. More than 300 wolves had gathered in ceremonial white and silver. Shifted wolves, unshifted wolves, warriors, omegas, elders. Power and anticipation filled the clearing. Tonight, everyone had come to witness Liana Blackwood's formal recognition as Gabriel's heir. Arya wore gray. Never white. White belonged to wolves who belonged. Gray belonged to people like Arya, trapped somewhere between pack member and unwanted burden. All rise for Alpha Gabriel Blackwood and Luna Vivian Blackwood. Every head turned toward the northern entrance. Arya's father entered first. At 45, Gabriel Blackwood remained an imposing alpha. Tall, broad-shouldered, dark hair threaded with silver at the temples. His ceremonial robes marked his position, but he hardly needed them. Alpha authority rolled from him strongly enough that many wolves lowered their eyes automatically. Arya remembered when those same eyes had looked at her with love. Before her mother died, Gabriel had called her Little Storm because of her gray eyes. He used to carry her on his shoulders. He used to tell her she would grow up strong, just like Serafina. Now he could cross a room without noticing his eldest daughter existed. Vivian walked beside him. Her auburn hair was crowned in silver, and she wore the white of a Luna. She was beautiful in the same way certain poisonous flowers were beautiful, lovely from a distance, deadly when touched. One hand rested possessively on Gabriel's arm. Her gaze moved across the crowd. It passed over Arya as though she were not there. Then Lyanna appeared. The reaction was immediate. By the goddess. She's magnificent. The prophecy wolf. Lyanna had already shifted. Doing so before the ceremonial command was unusual, but rules had never seemed to apply to her. Her white wolf was huge, almost as large as an adult male alpha. Her fur glowed beneath the moon. Her eyes shone an unnatural gold. Power rolled from her in waves strong enough that even experienced warriors bowed their heads. Arya's stomach twisted. This was no longer simply a recognition ceremony. It felt like a coronation. Pack. Gabriel's alpha command carried across the clearing. Every voice died instantly. Tonight, beneath the witness of the full moon, and with the blessing of the moon goddess, we gather for a sacred purpose. The familiar ritual words felt different tonight. We celebrate the emergence of alpha potential in the next generation. We celebrate the strength of Silver Creek. Pride entered Gabriel's voice. And we celebrate my daughter, Lyanna Blackwood, whose wolf manifested early and powerful, marking her as chosen by the goddess herself. The pack erupted. Human cheers mixed with wolf howls. Arya remained silent, her hands clenched tightly at her sides. Lyanna shifted back with flawless control. Vivian placed a ceremonial white robe around her shoulders. Across the clearing, Lyanna found Arya's eyes. Her victorious smile said everything. Enjoy it, Arya thought. This is your night. But tonight, Gabriel continued. Something in his tone changed. Every instinct Arya possessed screamed a warning. We must also address a matter that has troubled this pack for far too long. Arya's heartbeat quickened. A weakness that threatens our standing among the northern packs. Number. Her father looked directly at her. For the first time that evening, Arya Blackwood, her stomach dropped. Step forward. It was not a request. It was an alpha command. Arya's body obeyed before her mind had time to resist. The crowd divided as she walked toward the stone circle. Wolves stepped away from her as if being wolfless were a disease. She entered the center alone. Moonlight fell across her gray dress. Her pack surrounded her. Her father watched her with cold disappointment. 18 years ago, Gabriel began, the moon goddess blessed me with a daughter from my true mate, Luna Seraphina. Arya dug her nails into her palms. We believed that daughter would inherit her mother's strength. Don't cry. We believed she would bring honor to the Blackwood bloodline. Do not cry. But the years passed. Gabriel's expression hardened. No wolf appeared at 13. Arya stared at the stone beneath her feet. None at 16. Her throat closed. And tonight, on her 18th birthday, his voice filled with contempt. Still nothing. Arya flinched. The council has brought concerns to me. Concerns about what it means when an alpha bloodline produces a wolfless heir. Concerns about what message such weakness sends to our enemies. Father, the word escaped Arya as a broken whisper. Silence. Alpha command slammed into her. Her knees struck the cold stone. You have no right to speak in this circle. Gabriel looked down at her. Not without a wolf. His next words hurt worse. Not without worth. Gabriel! Esther's voice cut through the crowd. This is madness. She is your daughter. She is a defect. Vivian stepped forward. Her voice was sweet enough to disguise the knife beneath it. My love, we discussed this. The strength of the pack must come first. We cannot allow weakness in the alpha bloodline, especially with the territorial pressure we face from Blood Moon. Agreement rippled through the crowd. Arya heard every whisper. She's right. Weakness. Embarrassment. Lyanna stepped beside her parents. Father, I know this is difficult. Her voice sounded compassionate. That made it worse. Arya is family, in a way. Perhaps there is a solution that protects the pack while still being merciful to her. Gabriel looked at Lyanna. What do you propose? The wolfless can still serve. Arya's blood chilled. Designate Arya officially as an Omega. Lyanna smiled gently. It would give her a role, a purpose. She would no longer need to pretend she belongs to the Alpha family. Arya stared at her half-sister. She could find happiness through service. Omega. The lowest rank. No voice in pack affairs. No right to participate in decisions. No future except serving others. No. The word escaped before Arya could stop herself. She looked toward Gabriel. Please. I'm your daughter. I am. You are nothing. Vivian's mask vanished. You are the reminder of a dead woman who believed she was too good for this pack. Arya froze. Your mother was weak, and she passed that weakness into you. Vivian's eyes gleamed. At least she had the decency to die before she could embarrass Gabriel any further. Enough! Esther's command cracked across the clearing. Though age had weakened her wolf, the authority of the former Luna still carried power. She pushed through the crowd and stood beside Arya. You go too far, Vivian. Esther's eyes burned. Serafina was 10 times the Luna you will ever be. And this child is 18 and wolfless, Vivian shouted. She has no place in the Alpha family. She turned to Gabriel. You know I'm right. The council knows it. The pack knows it. Her voice lowered. It is time to cut out the rot before it spreads. Gabriel looked at his mother, then his wife, then the daughter kneeling before him. For one brief second, Arya saw something in his eyes. Recognition, perhaps regret. Then the Alpha mask returned. The council has advised that Arya Blackwood be stripped of her family name and reduced to Omega rank, effective immediately. Arya stopped breathing. The world seemed to tilt beneath her. However, Gabriel paused. Something almost painful entered his expression. She remains my blood. Hope flickered inside Arya despite everything. So I will offer one alternative. He looked directly at her. You have 1 week. Arya stared at him. 1 week to manifest your wolf. The clearing was completely silent. If you shift before the next full moon, you may remain in the family and keep the Blackwood name. Arya's heart pounded. But if you fail, Gabriel's expression hardened. You will accept Omega status without resistance, and from that day forward, you will never again claim connection to the Blackwood bloodline. 7 days. After 18 years of nothing, she had 7 days to summon a wolf that had never answered her. It was impossible, cruel, and still the only chance she had. I accept. Lyanna's head snapped toward her. What? For the first time that night, her composure broke. Father, you can't seriously. I have made my decision. Gabriel's Alpha authority silenced her. Then his gaze returned to Arya. 7 days. Prove your worth or accept your fate. He turned away. The dismissal was absolute. The ceremony continued around Arya as though nothing important had happened. Lyanna was formally recognized as heir. The pack howled. The celebration began. Arya remained kneeling on the freezing stone. 7 days. Esther eventually came to her and pulled her upright. Come with me. Where? Now, Arya. They slipped away from the clearing. The farther they moved into the forest, the quieter the sounds of celebration became. Soon there was only wind moving through the trees and the pounding of Arya's heart. Grandmother, what am I supposed to do? Her control finally broke. Tears streamed down her face. I can't make a wolf appear. If I could, I would have done it years ago. Esther did not stop walking. Your mother made me promise something before she died. Arya stumbled. What? She made me swear I would never tell you unless you truly needed to know. What did she make you promise? Esther led her deeper into the woods. Eventually they entered a clearing Arya had never seen, despite spending her entire childhood exploring the forest. An ancient stone marker stood at its center. Symbols covered its surface. Under the moonlight, they almost seemed to move. Your mother's wolf did not simply manifest late, Esther said. Arya looked at her. It remained dormant because Serafina was something this pack had not seen for 3 generations. Esther faced the stone. Something powerful. She looked back at Arya. And dangerous. What was she? A moon singer. Arya stared at her. That's a legend. Is it? Esther seized her shoulders. Your mother could make plants grow by singing to them. She could heal certain wounds with a touch. She could sense lies as clearly as you or I hear a scream. Her voice fell. And when she finally shifted, her wolf was silver as moonlight. Arya barely breathed. When Serafina howled, every wolf within 100 miles felt it in their bones. Arya shook her head. But I'm nothing like that. I can't do any of those things, because you have been suppressed. Arya went still. Esther's face hardened. Vivian is not simply cruel. She lowered her voice. She is a witch. She is not a werewolf at all. Arya stared at her grandmother. And she has been poisoning you since you were 7. The forest seemed to move beneath Arya's feet. What? Small doses. Never enough to kill you. She is too clever for something so obvious. Esther's anger shook in every word. But enough to keep your wolf dormant. Enough to weaken you year after year. Memories rushed through Arya. The special teas Vivian always insisted she drink. The meals prepared only for her. The strange exhaustion that had worsened with age. The sense of disconnection she had never been able to explain. She did this to make sure I could never challenge Lyanna. Yes. Why didn't you tell father? I tried. For the first time, Esther's voice broke. But Vivian has Gabriel under her influence. She looked away. Literally. Arya's stomach twisted. The man I raised would never have treated his child this way. Hope and horror collided inside Arya. If I've been poisoned, her voice trembled. If something inside me has actually been suppressed, it means we have 7 days to undo 18 years of damage. Esther looked toward the ancient stone. And we may have only one way to do it. Arya followed her gaze. What is this place? A moon shrine. Esther stepped closer to it. The barrier between our world and the realm of the moon goddess is thinner here. Your mother used to pray here, sing here, connect with her wolf here. Esther reached inside her clothing and removed a tiny vial. Silver liquid glowed within it. This is moon water. It was blessed beneath a lunar eclipse. Arya stared at the vial. It can purge poison and break weaker spells. Then give it to me. It may also kill you. Arya's hand stopped. Esther did not soften the truth. If your wolf is not truly dormant, if there is nothing inside you for the moon water to awaken, the water will search for something that does not exist. Her eyes held Arya's. And it will burn through you from the inside. Arya looked at the glowing liquid. 7 days to save her name, or a chance to discover whether everything she had believed about herself was a lie. Give it to me. Arya, what choice do I have? A bitter laugh escaped her. I can become an Omega and spend the rest of my life serving the woman who killed my mother and poisoned me. Her hand extended. Or I can find out whether my mother's blood actually means something. Esther watched her for a long time. Finally, she placed the vial in Arya's palm. Your mother would be proud. A sad smile touched her face. Foolish, perhaps, but proud. Arya uncorked it. Drink everything. Then place your hands on the shrine and open yourself to the goddess. And if she doesn't answer? Esther's eyes filled with sorrow. Then may she receive your spirit with more kindness than this pack ever showed you. Arya raised the vial. The moon water smelled like winter, moonlight, and something so ancient she had no word for it. Her hand shook. This could kill her. But at least this choice belonged to her. Arya drank. Fire and ice struck her tongue at the same time. She nearly dropped the vial. Still, she swallowed every drop. For one heartbeat, nothing happened. Then agony exploded through her. Arya screamed and collapsed. Pain spread from her stomach through every vein like shattered glass. 18 years of poison fought against the moon water tearing through her body. Her vision flashed white, then black, then colors she had never seen before. The stone. Esther's voice sounded impossibly far away. Arya, touch the stone. Arya dragged herself across the earth. Her hands struck the ancient marker. The symbols burned into her palms, and the world disappeared beneath silver light. Power poured through Arya as though the moon itself had entered her body. Something deep inside her moved. Something compressed, chained, suffocated for 18 years. It began to unfold. Wake up. Arya heard the voice everywhere and nowhere. Wake up, daughter of the moon. Her back arched. Power flooded through muscle and bone. Her body began to change, but the transformation did not feel like the shifts she had witnessed all her life. It was too powerful, too violent, too vast. The moon water had destroyed the poison, but in doing so, it had also shattered every barrier Arya's body had created to survive 18 years of suppression. Something was awakening, something that did not feel like an ordinary wolf. The forest bent beneath the force of it. The ancient stone cracked beneath Arya's palms. Then everything stopped. Arya collapsed. Darkness swallowed her, and her last conscious thought was a question: what am I? Chapter 3. The Silver Awakening. Birdsong pulled Arya back to consciousness. Then came the scent of flowers. Flowers that should not have been blooming in autumn. She opened her eyes. The world looked impossibly sharp. Arya could see individual droplets of dew clinging to leaves far across the clearing. She could trace the tiny veins running through flower petals. What happened? She pushed herself up. Something felt wrong. Or perhaps, for the first time in her life, something felt right. Her body felt powerful, as if she had spent 18 years moving underwater and had suddenly stepped onto dry ground. Energy moved through her veins. Wild, electric, alive. Grandmother. Her own voice startled her. Several tones seemed to speak together. Here. Esther sounded exhausted. Thank the goddess. You're alive. Arya found her grandmother sitting against a tree. Esther looked as if she had aged 10 years overnight. Dark circles surrounded her eyes. Her hands trembled. What happened? Arya crawled toward her. The shrine, the pain, that voice. Her heart jumped. Did I shift? Esther laughed. It sounded dangerously close to hysteria. Did you shift? She looked around them. Child, you nearly tore open the barrier between realms. Arya followed her gaze. The ancient shrine had split directly down the middle. Its carved symbols still pulsed with fading silver light. The grass surrounding Arya had changed color. Not gray, not white, metallic silver. Flowers covered the clearing. Arya stared. Are those moon lilies? The legendary flowers were said to bloom only in the presence of the moon goddess. You called them forth, Esther said quietly, and released enough power to flatten this forest. She shook her head. Your mother was extraordinary, Arya. Her gaze returned to the shattered shrine. But what you did last night, I have never seen anything like it. Arya looked at her hands. Then my wolf emerged? Esther hesitated. Try to shift. Arya swallowed. And please, for the love of the goddess, try not to destroy anything. Arya closed her eyes. All her life there had been an empty place inside her, a silence where other wolves described feeling another consciousness. Now that emptiness was gone, but what occupied it was not what she expected. It felt like a universe. Ancient power stretched farther than Arya could comprehend. At its center was a presence watching her through eyes like silver suns. Hello, little sister. The voice was feminine, powerful, almost amused. Took you long enough. Arya's eyes flew open. There's something inside me. Esther rose slowly. Of course there is. No. Arya shook her head. It doesn't feel like the wolves I've sensed from other pack members. Show me. Esther's voice became commanding. Shift. Arya reached inward. The instant she touched that presence, power detonated through her. Silver light burst from her skin, her bones rearranged with sounds like breaking crystal, muscles stretched. Her entire form expanded. This was nothing like Lyanna's graceful transformations. Reality itself seemed to resist what Arya was becoming. Then the light faded. Esther stumbled backward. Arya looked down. She was a wolf. Technically. But calling this creature a wolf felt like calling the ocean a puddle. Her fur was not white. It was pure metallic silver, glowing with its own light. She was enormous. Twice the size of an ordinary alpha wolf. 4-inch fangs filled her mouth. Her claws cut grooves into the earth with almost no pressure. Arya moved toward a pool of water. Molten silver eyes stared back from the reflection. Then she saw the marking on her chest. A dark silver crescent moon. Stars surrounded it. And the stars seemed to twinkle. Well? The voice inside her sounded pleased. Impressed? What are you? Arya asked silently. We are Luna Wolf. The name meant nothing to her. The moon goddess's own blood. A bridge between divine and mortal. Born once in 1,000 years. The voice sounded almost proud. A pack of one that commands all others. We are in enormous trouble. Esther's sharp voice brought Arya back. Shift back, now. Arya turned toward her grandmother. Hide? After 18 years of being mocked? After last night? Why should she hide? Let Gabriel see. Let Lyanna see. Let every wolf who had called her broken see exactly how wrong they had been. They will kill you. Esther shouted the words. Arya froze. The old woman's face had gone pale. Do you understand what you are? Esther stepped closer. Luna wolves belong to no pack. They bow to no alpha. Her eyes moved across Arya's huge silver form. They stand above alphas. Arya's excitement turned cold. If Gabriel realizes what you have become, he will either try to control you or destroy you. Esther's voice lowered. And if Vivian discovers that 18 years of poisoning failed, she shook her head. There will be no safe third option. Arya understood. Her father would not see the daughter he had rejected. He would see a power greater than his own, a threat. Vivian would see the girl she had spent years weakening suddenly stronger than everyone around her. Arya drew the power inward. Her transformation reversed. Moments later, she stood human again, naked and trembling. Esther wrapped a blanket around her shoulders. As far as the pack knows, you spent the night in your quarters after the ceremony. Arya listened. No one knows about the moon water. No one knows about the shrine. Esther gripped her shoulders. You have 7 days to manifest a wolf. So we give them one. Arya frowned. A believable one. Esther nodded. Not this. She gestured toward the silver grass. You will learn to compress your power, show them a strong wolf, but nothing that threatens Lyanna's position. How? I can barely control what's inside me. Then you learn. Esther's answer left no room for argument. Because the alternatives are death and slavery. Arya's exhaustion suddenly hit her. Every muscle weakened. Come. Esther supported her. We need to return before anyone notices. They reached the edge of the clearing. Arya. She stopped. The power. The voice you hear. Esther looked directly at her. Never tell anyone. Arya glanced back at the cracked shrine and silver grass. Luna wolves became legends for a reason. Esther's voice turned grim. They are too powerful for other wolves to allow them to live freely. Arya thought about 18 years of being nothing. Now she had become something terrifying. I promise. But even as she said it, she wondered how long that promise could survive. 3 days later, Arya hit the dirt of the training grounds for the 5th time. Pain shot through her ribs. Lyanna's huge white wolf stood above her. Come on, sister. Lyanna's voice entered the pack link. If you intend to magically find a wolf within 4 days, perhaps you should learn how a real wolf fights. The morning training had been Vivian's idea. If Arya is going to prove herself, she should understand what she is aspiring to become. Then she had smiled. Lyanna, show her some basic combat. Everyone knew what it really was. Torture disguised as assistance. Arya forced herself upright. For 3 days she had pretended nothing had changed. At night, she trained secretly with Esther. She practiced compressing the vast presence inside her, making the enormous silver wolf smaller, less radiant, believable. And now, while Lyanna beat her in front of half the pack, Arya used every ounce of control she possessed not to reveal what she had become. Not yet. The Luna wolf purred inside her mind. But soon we show them. Lyanna shifted back. She was not even breathing hard. Pack members had gathered around the training grounds. Some looked uncomfortable. Many were enjoying the spectacle. Pathetic. Lyanna wiped imaginary dust from her hands. How do you expect to survive your first shift when you cannot even survive a little sparring? Arya wiped blood from her split lip. Maybe because you're using full alpha strength against someone who supposedly hasn't shifted. Lyanna smiled. Are we demanding fairness now? Her eyes flashed. Was father being fair when he gave you 7 days you never deserved? She leaned closer. He should have stripped you of the Blackwood name immediately. Then her voice dropped. I know you did something 3 nights ago. Arya's blood chilled. I don't know what you're talking about. I felt it. Lyanna's smile sharpened. Power from the forest. She sniffed near Arya. You smell faintly of moon magic. Arya remained still. Whatever desperate ritual you tried clearly failed. Lyanna's eyes narrowed. You're still wolfless. She moved closer. But Mother wants to know exactly what you did. Before Arya could answer, movement at the entrance drew everyone's attention. 3 men stood beyond the training gates, strangers. And all 3 were unmistakably alphas. Power rolled from them strongly enough that Silver Creek wolves instinctively exposed their throats. The first alpha was tall and dark, with midnight eyes and an aura of barely contained violence. The second was leaner, copper-haired, wearing a smile that looked more dangerous than friendly. The third was pale, almost moon-colored, with white blonde hair and eyes that seemed to notice everything. All 3 were staring at Arya. Gabriel appeared from the pack house. His expression hardened. Alpha Cade of Shadowfang. He looked toward the copper-haired Alpha. Alpha Thorn of Crimson Claw. Then the pale one. Alpha Zephyr of Stormwind. Gabriel's gaze moved between them. This visit is unexpected. We received no notice. Cade answered first. 3 nights ago, every alpha within 500 miles felt something. His midnight eyes remained fixed on Arya. A surge of power unlike anything in living memory. Arya's stomach dropped. It came from your territory. Thorn tilted his head. We thought perhaps Silver Creek had discovered an ancient artifact. His grin widened. Or maybe the moon goddess personally blessed your forest. His gaze settled on Arya. But now I smell something much more interesting. Zephyr moved with quiet grace. He crossed the training ground until he stood near Arya. Fascinating. He leaned close enough that she felt his breath against her neck. You're frightened. Arya's pulse raced. Your heart is trying to escape your chest. Zephyr inhaled. But beneath the fear, his eyes narrowed. You smell like moonlight. Another breath. Power. He smiled slightly. And secrets. Step away from my daughter. Gabriel's growl filled the grounds. Arya noticed immediately. He had not specified which daughter. Which one? Cade asked. Amusement touched his voice. Because I am almost certain that what we sensed came from... He pointed. Arya stopped breathing. Silence swallowed the training ground. They knew, or at least they suspected. Deny everything. Esther's warning echoed through Arya. I'm wolfless. Her voice shook despite her efforts. It couldn't have been me. Are you? Zephyr seized her wrist before she could move. His expression changed. Your pulse. Arya's panic surged. It doesn't feel human. He frowned. But it isn't quite wolf either. His eyes met hers. What are you? Let her go. Lyanna stepped forward. She's nothing. Her voice sharpened. A defect. Whatever power you sensed came from me. Lyanna lifted her chin. I manifested early. I have alpha potential. Cade laughed. Oh, little white wolf. His tone was almost insulting. I can smell your power. It is impressive for an ordinary alpha. Lyanna stiffened. But what we felt 3 nights ago was ancient. Cade's amusement disappeared. It made every alpha instinct inside me demand 2 opposite things at once. He looked back at Arya. Submit. Then his eyes darkened. And challenge. He gestured toward Lyanna. You were not the source. Thorn had gone strangely quiet. He stared at Arya. Then his expression changed. The prophecy. Arya's heart stopped. By the goddess. He whispered the next words. A Luna wolf walks among us. Enough. Gabriel's alpha command slammed across the grounds. Several wolves dropped to their knees. The 3 visiting alphas barely moved. I don't know what game you are playing, Gabriel said, but Arya is wolfless. He pointed toward her. She has 4 days to prove otherwise before accepting Omega status. Your prophecies have nothing to do with my daughter. Then you will not object if we stay. Cade's voice was smooth. Gabriel's jaw tightened. We traveled a long way to investigate the source of that power. Cade smiled. We may as well remain until Arya's deadline. It was not a request. Gabriel knew it. After a tense pause, he nodded. Silver Creek will offer hospitality. Oh, we didn't come for hospitality, Thorn said. His attention returned to Arya. If a Luna wolf truly awakened, his grin faded. Everything is about to change. He studied her. The only question is who she chooses to stand beside. She is wolfless. Vivian appeared beside Gabriel. Her voice was shrill. I don't care what you imagined you felt. She glared at Arya. In 4 days, this girl will become an Omega. Zephyr released Arya's wrist. But he remained close. We'll see. His quiet words raised the hair on Arya's arms. Something tells me this story is only beginning. The alphas followed Gabriel and Vivian toward the pack house. Arya remained frozen. They know. Lyanna approached. Well? Her voice dripped venom. Looks like your secret may not be very secret. Arya turned toward her. Mother is going to find this extremely interesting. Lyanna leaned close. Whatever you are hiding, everyone will discover it eventually. Then she smiled. And then we'll see what Father decides to do with you. That night, Arya paced her tiny room like a trapped animal. Esther watched from a chair in the corner. They know. Arya turned sharply. Grandmother, those alphas know what I am. They suspect. Esther corrected her. There is a difference. They sensed the transformation. Yes. They came here because of me. Yes. Arya pressed both hands against her temples. Why would 3 alphas care about an old prophecy? Because a Luna wolf does not possess only power. Esther's expression became grave. She possesses influence. Arya stopped pacing. If a Luna wolf chooses an alpha as her mate, that alliance could elevate his pack above all others. Esther paused. To ambitious wolves, you would be a prize worth almost any cost. Arya felt sick. So I'm a weapon. A tool. An opportunity. A political advantage. Esther did not soften it. If those alphas identify you before Gabriel or Vivian understands what you are, they may try to court you. Her expression darkened. Claim you. Control you. I won't be controlled. Arya's voice rose. I spent 18 years being nothing. I finally become something and everyone thinks they can. A knock cut her off. Both women froze. Arya approached the door cautiously. She expected a servant or another order from Vivian. Instead, Alpha Cade leaned against the doorway, dangerous, relaxed, smiling. "Hello, little Luna." Arya's pulse jumped. "I think you and I need to talk." Chapter 4. The Alpha's Bargain. Cade's presence filled Arya's room like smoke. Esther stood immediately and placed herself between him and Arya. "You have no right to enter these quarters." "I mean no disrespect, Elder." Cade's eyes never left Arya. "But what I need to say cannot pass through pack politics or family filters. Anything important can be said through proper channels." Cade smiled. "Even information about a witch poisoning an Alpha's daughter for more than a decade." Esther went silent. "Even information about a prophecy capable of changing the balance of power throughout the northern packs." Cade finally looked at her. "I know who you are, Esther Blackwood. Your reputation as Luna existed long before Vivian replaced you." He inclined his head. "I also know you genuinely care about this girl." His gaze returned to Arya. "So let me speak. If she tells me to leave afterward, I will." Esther looked at Arya. "Your choice." Everything inside Arya warned her that Cade was dangerous, but he knew about Vivian. He knew things Arya desperately needed to understand. 10 minutes. Cade smiled. "That will be enough." He stepped inside. Even standing casually against the wall, Cade moved like a predator prepared for violence. 3 nights ago, I was sleeping in Shadowfang territory, nearly 200 miles from here. His expression lost its humor. I woke because every alpha instinct in my body was screaming that something fundamental had changed. Arya listened. The moon itself seemed to pulse. Cade tilted his head. "Tell me, Arya Blackwood, what do you know about Luna wolves?" "Stories." "Exactly." Cade folded his arms. "Stories told to pups. Behave or the Luna wolf will come. The goddess sends Luna wolves to judge corrupt alphas." His expression darkened. "But legends usually begin somewhere." He watched Arya carefully. "Luna wolves existed." "Past tense?" "The last confirmed one lived roughly 300 years ago." Cade's voice lowered. "Her name was Astrid Moonborn." Arya remained silent. She could command almost any wolf, alpha or omega, with nothing except her will. She belonged to no pack and answered to no alpha. Cade paused. "Eventually, the alphas of that era decided something so powerful should not exist without being controlled." Arya's stomach tightened. "They hunted her." Cade's voice became cold. "They killed her." He held Arya's gaze. "And they killed every pup she had ever born." Arya swallowed. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because if the power we felt was your awakening, you are the first Luna wolf in 3 centuries. He stepped closer. "And once the greater packs confirm that." He did not finish. Arya did it for him. "They'll kill me. Some will. Others? Capture you." Cade's eyes hardened. "Use you. Force a mate bond. Turn your power into an advantage for their territory." "And you?" Cade laughed softly. "I haven't decided." Esther bristled. "At least you're honest. The intelligent political move would be killing her before she becomes impossible to control." Cade's gaze never left Arya. "The ambitious move would be claiming her as my mate and using her strength to dominate every northern pack." He stepped closer again. "But there is another option." "What?" "Alliance." Arya frowned. "Not ownership." Cade's voice was firm. "Not control. Partnership." He glanced toward Esther. "Your grandmother is right to hide your nature." Then back to Arya. "If Gabriel realizes his supposedly defective daughter has become more powerful than he is, fear will make him dangerous. And Vivian? That witch is already dangerous." Arya narrowed her eyes. "How do you know what she is?" "Because I know my enemies." Cade's voice turned flat. "Vivian is not her real name." Esther stared at him. "Her name is Morgana Darkwater." Cade continued. She came from a dark coven that has been infiltrating werewolf packs for generations. Arya's heartbeat accelerated. Then Cade said something that stopped it completely. She killed your mother. Arya stared. Not the slow poisoning she used on you. Cade's expression hardened. She killed Serafina directly and disguised it as illness. Arya grabbed the edge of her desk. No. Then she spent the next 18 years suppressing whatever she sensed inside you. You can't know that. I can prove it. Cade's answer came without hesitation. A witch in my territory defected from Morgana's coven years ago. She came to Shadowfang seeking protection. He moved nearer. She has been telling me about Morgana's operations for more than a decade. Then why didn't you stop her? Because I never understood why Morgana chose Silver Creek specifically. Cade's expression tightened. Until 3 nights ago. Arya understood. The power. Yes. Cade looked toward Esther. Luna wolves are born, not created, and their bloodlines are extraordinarily rare. He looked back at Arya. Serafina was a moon singer. Arya held herself still. That meant her child carried the possibility of something even greater. Morgana knew? She must have sensed your potential when you were young. Cade nodded. So she removed your mother, took her place beside Gabriel, then stayed close enough to suppress you. Arya's voice cracked. Why not just kill me too? Esther answered before Cade could. Because killing a child chosen by the moon goddess invites divine punishment. Understanding spread across her face. Morgana couldn't risk the curse. Cade nodded. So she did the next best thing. He looked directly at Arya. She made sure you never awakened. Arya's stomach twisted. And it nearly worked. Cade leaned toward her. But you did awaken. His voice became serious. And Morgana knows something changed. Arya remembered Lyanna smelling moon magic. She will move against you. When? Soon. Cade did not hesitate. She has to strike before you fully understand your abilities. Arya looked toward Esther. What do you want me to do? Leave. Arya turned back toward Cade. Tonight. He continued. Come to Shadowfang. Esther's expression sharpened. I'll give you protection, training, and access to everything we know about Luna wolves. Cade's voice softened slightly. When you are strong enough that no alpha or witch can threaten you, you can decide what happens next. Arya stared at him. That is insane. Possibly. You're asking me to abandon my home and trust a stranger who admitted he considered killing me. I'm offering survival. Cade's tone hardened again. Your father will not protect you. Morgana will attack you. Lyanna wants you gone. He paused. And 4 days from now, when you demonstrate your wolf, I'll show them something normal. Cade shook his head. Thorn and Zephyr sensed your awakening from hundreds of miles away. His expression was grim. They are not fools. The moment you shift, even if you disguise your form, they will feel the power beneath it. Arya's confidence vanished. They'll know. Yes. Cade stepped back. And then every ambitious alpha starts calculating how to claim the first Luna wolf in centuries. Arya had spent so much energy thinking about surviving Gabriel's 7-day ultimatum that she had barely considered what came afterward. I need time. A scream tore through the night. All 3 froze. Then Cade moved. He ripped open the door. Smoke struck Arya immediately. Fire. And beneath the ordinary scent of burning wood was something chemical. Wrong. The West Wing. Esther's face drained of color. The archives. Arya understood instantly. Pack histories. Bloodline records. Ancient documents. Proof of your mother's lineage, Cade said. His expression became murderous. Morgana is destroying it. Arya ran. The pack house had erupted into chaos. Wolves shouted and rushed between corridors. Some carried water. Others shifted, trying to reach trapped rooms. Arya rounded the corner into the West Wing. Green and violet flames filled the corridor. They moved like living creatures. Water struck them and evaporated uselessly. Witch fire. Cade appeared beside her. Ordinary water cannot extinguish it. Only whoever cast it can stop it. A familiar voice came from the opposite end. Or someone with equal power. Arya turned. Vivian stood beyond the flames. Except now Arya saw Morgana. Her stepmother's expression was calm. Too calm. In the unnatural firelight, the beautiful mask she had worn for 18 years seemed thinner, older, crueler. Terrible accident. Morgana's voice carried through the fire. A servant knocked over a lamp. Cade's jaw tightened. So careless. Morgana smiled. I'm afraid everything in the archive will be destroyed. Her gaze locked onto Arya. Bloodline records. Another smile. Prophecies. Her eyes glittered. Ancient history. You're destroying evidence. Arya stepped forward. Evidence of my mother. Morgana's expression sharpened. Evidence of what? Her voice rose. That you're special? She laughed. That you're anything except the wolfless disappointment everyone knows you are? Arya clenched her fists. Even if you somehow manifested something impressive, do you really believe Gabriel would choose you over Lyanna? Morgana stepped closer to the flames. Over me? Where is father? Busy. Morgana smiled. He becomes very suggestible when he is occupied. Cade moved beside Arya. Morgana Darkwater. For the first time, surprise touched the witch's face. Alpha Cade. Her expression quickly recovered. I did not realize interfering in another pack's affairs had become one of your hobbies. I interfere when dark witches start murdering wolves. His voice was ice. I'll admit though, Cade's eyes narrowed. 18 years is an impressive deception. My former coven, Morgana corrected him. I discovered pack life was far more profitable. She lifted one hand. The flames grew. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have an accident to finish. The fire stretched farther down the hallway. These old buildings burn so easily. Morgana's gaze shifted. It would be unfortunate if the flames reached the servants' quarters. Arya understood the threat. People were sleeping there. Morgana would burn everyone alive if it meant getting what she wanted. Stop the fire. Arya stepped forward. Now. Morgana laughed. Or what? Arya's hands trembled. You'll cry to your father? The witch's smile became vicious. You have no power here, little wolf. 18 years. 18 years of poison. Humiliation. Lies. A murdered mother. A stolen childhood. You have never had power. Morgana stepped nearer. And 4 days from now, after you fail to shift and Gabriel finally reduces you to Omega, she smiled. I will make every remaining day of your short life punishment for carrying your mother's tainted blood. Something inside Arya broke. No more. You want to see power? Her own voice sounded different, layered. The walls seemed to vibrate with it. Morgana's smile faltered. You want to see what my mother's tainted blood gave me? Arya. Cade's warning came too late. She reached inward, toward the presence she had hidden for 3 days. Show her. Arya felt the Luna wolf smile inside her consciousness. With pleasure. Power exploded from Arya. Silver light filled the corridor. Wolves screamed and shielded their eyes. The witchfire recoiled. Then Arya shifted. Not into the smaller wolf Esther had taught her to create. Into her true form. Silver fur erupted across her transforming body. Her bones restructured like thunder breaking beneath the earth. Reality itself seemed to bend around her. Then the transformation ended. Silence followed. Arya stood twice the size of an ordinary alpha. Silver fur illuminated the dark corridor. The crescent marking on her chest burned with light. Tiny stars shimmered around it. Molten silver eyes settled on Morgana. For the first time in 18 years, Arya saw genuine fear on her stepmother's face. Hello, murderer. Arya's voice entered every mind inside the pack house. Unavoidable, powerful. Morgana stumbled backward. Did you truly believe poison could destroy something the moon goddess created? No. Morgana shook her head. No, you were suppressed. Fear broke her voice. You should have remained dormant. You murdered my mother. Arya moved forward. The floor cracked beneath one massive paw. You poisoned me. Another step. You tried to erase everything I was supposed to become. Morgana's terror became rage. Green fire erupted from her hands. It shot toward Arya like spears. Arya opened her jaws and howled. The sound was more than noise. Power became sound. Windows shattered. Walls cracked. Every trace of witch fire disappeared instantly. Darkness filled the corridor. Except for the silver light coming from Arya, Morgana had fallen to her knees. Blood ran from her nose. Around them, wolves lay flat against the floor, heads bowed, bodies responding to an authority their instincts could not resist. Even Cade had lowered himself onto one knee. But his eyes never left Arya. They held calculation, awe, and something else she could not yet identify. You should run. Arya's voice entered Morgana's mind. Run far. Run fast. Because if you come for me again, stopping your fire will be the least of what I do. Morgana forced herself upright. Her beautiful disguise had begun slipping. Her skin carried a faint green cast. Her eyes looked older, crueler. This is not over. She pointed toward Arya. The council will hear of this. Her voice shook. The greater packs will know a Luna wolf has appeared. And they will know she has Shadow Fang's protection. Cade stood. Then he looked at Arya. Unless she chooses otherwise. Voices erupted from the main hall. Gabriel, furious, confused. Lyanna screaming in disbelief. Then Arya felt two more powerful presences approaching. Thorn, Zephyr, drawn toward the power. They're coming. The Luna wolf whispered inside her. All of them. To claim us. Use us. Cage us. What do we do? Arya looked at the ruined corridor. At Morgana. At Cade's outstretched hand. 4 more days of pretending suddenly seemed impossible. She thought about her father's ultimatum. 3 alphas already circling her. A witch who wanted her destroyed. We run, Arya told the wolf. We learn what we are. Cade watched her. And after that, Arya shifted back. This transformation came more smoothly. She stood in the destroyed corridor, human again, unbowed. And then, she took Cade's hand. We come back. Her gray eyes flashed silver. And we make them all bow. Chapter 5, Shadows and Silver. Shadow Fang territory was nothing like Silver Creek. Silver Creek had polished pack houses, carefully maintained paths, and rigid social ranks. Cade's territory was wild. A fortress had been carved directly into the mountainside, surrounded by ancient forests. The wolves living there carried scars. They were survivors hardened by conflict. And unlike Silver Creek, everyone at Shadow Fang already knew what Arya was. Again, Cade's command snapped across the training ground. Arya shifted, human to Luna wolf, then back. Again. It was her 20th transformation that morning. Each one had become smoother, but controlling the power still felt like forcing an ocean into a cup. Faster. Cade circled her. In battle, hesitation gets you killed. You need to shift because instinct commands it, not because you have time to think. Arya glared. Her eyes flickered between gray and silver. Easy for you to say. You aren't controlling enough power to flatten a city. Exactly why you need discipline. Cade stopped before her. Right now, you are power without precision. I'm not a weapon. No? His smile sharpened. Then what are you? Arya crossed her arms. A princess waiting to be rescued? Her jaw tightened. A victim collecting old wounds? Cade suddenly moved into her space. Or are you the Luna wolf I saw make a dark witch tremble? His voice dropped. The wolf who brought an entire pack to the floor with one howl? Silver energy sparked over Arya's skin. Careful, Alpha. She held his gaze. You may not enjoy what happens if you push me too far. Cade grinned. There she is. Arya's power rose. That is the wolf I'm trying to train. He leaned closer, not the frightened girl who apologized for breathing. His smile vanished. The predator who takes what belongs to her. Before Arya could answer, another voice came from the edge of the field. If you two have finished aggressively flirting, we have a problem. Thorn stood there. The Crimson Claw Alpha had arrived 3 days earlier, officially to observe Arya's training. No one believed that excuse. He was making certain Cade did not gain exclusive access to her. What problem? Cade asked. Your witch wants an audience. Arya straightened. Elena Shadowmirror? Thorn nodded. She says Morgana is planning something involving the Greater Pack Council. Cade's expression changed immediately. I've kept Elena under protection for years. He looked at Arya. If she is speaking now, the information matters. Do you want to hear her? Part of Arya wanted nothing to do with another witch. But she had started learning something important. Information was power. Bring her. They met inside the council chamber. Elena Shadowmirror was not what Arya expected. There was nothing glamorous or sinister about her. She looked tired, perhaps 40. Graying brown hair framed a face marked by regret. When Arya entered, Elena stared. Then she smiled. By the goddess. Her voice trembled. You really exist. Arya sat opposite her. Cade and Thorn stood nearby. You know why Morgana targeted my family? Elena's smile disappeared. I know almost everything. Arya waited. I was Morgana's confidant for 15 years. Elena looked down. I helped research the Blackwood bloodline. Arya's fingers tightened. I helped identify Seraphina as a moon singer. Elena swallowed. And I helped plan your mother's murder. Silence filled the chamber. Arya's power flickered. You helped kill her. Yes. Elena did not look away. I did. Her eyes filled with pain. And I have spent every day since regretting it. She leaned forward. When I finally understood what Morgana truly intended, I ran. Why? Because her goal was larger than gaining power inside Silver Creek. Elena took out a worn leather journal. Pages were filled with arcane writing. Morgana never wanted only to suppress you. Arya stared at the book. She wanted to harvest you. Thorn's expression turned cold. Explain. Luna Wolves channel energy directly connected to the moon goddess. Elena's fingers tightened around the journal. Their blood, their essence, their power. She swallowed. There is a ritual forbidden even among dark witches. Arya felt cold. It allows a witch to consume the abilities of a Luna Wolf permanently. Consume? Cade's voice was dangerous. She would have to kill Arya? More than kill. Elena looked sick. If successful, Morgana would become something that has never existed before. She looked directly at Arya. A dark witch, carrying divine wolf power. Arya said nothing. She has planned this for 19 years. 19? Since she sensed your potential before you were born. Elena nodded. Marrying Gabriel, killing Seraphina, poisoning you, preventing your awakening. She tapped the journal. Every step was preparation. Arya's stomach turned. The only reason she kept me alive was because she couldn't kill a child protected by the goddess. Yes. Elena opened another page. But now you are awake. Her expression darkened. Which means she no longer has to wait. Cade stepped forward. What is she doing? She called a meeting of the Greater Pack Council. Arya frowned. All 12 ruling alphas? Yes. Elena turned the journal around. Morgana claims Silver Creek was attacked by a dangerous rogue. Arya understood. Me. She claims you destroyed pack property and attacked pack members. Elena continued. More importantly, she says you are not a blessed Luna wolf. Arya's heart tightened. She says your transformation was corrupted by dark magic. Thorn cursed. She wants the council to authorize a hunt. Elena nodded. If they declare you a corrupted rogue, every pack in the Northern Territories will have legal authority to hunt and kill you. Silence settled. When does the council meet? Cade asked. 3 days. Elena looked toward Arya. Morgana will present the destruction at Silver Creek as evidence. She hesitated. Gabriel will support her. Arya looked away. And Lyanna? She will testify against you. Elena closed the journal. Unless someone the council respects presents a powerful defense, Morgana will probably win. I'll speak. Cade answered immediately. Shadowfang grants Arya sanctuary. That won't be enough, Thorn said. Cade glared at him. One alpha's testimony against an established pack alpha and his Luna. Thorn shook his head. The council will favor tradition. Then what do you suggest? Thorn looked at Arya. She appears in person. Arya laughed bitterly. You want me to walk willingly into a gathering of 12 alphas while Morgana asks them to kill me. I want you to walk in as what you are. Thorn's expression hardened. A Luna wolf. He moved nearer. Show them power. Show them control. Make them afraid to call you corrupted. Arya shook her head. That sounds like a performance. No. Thorn smiled slightly. A challenge. He explained. Ancient pack law allows an accused wolf to demand trial by combat. Arya stared. If you invoke the law, the council must honor it. You want me to fight Morgana? No. Understanding slowly crossed Cade's face. She would appoint a champion. Arya's stomach dropped. Lyanna. Elena nodded. Morgana would almost certainly choose her. Arya saw the trap immediately. If I refuse the fight, I look guilty. Yes. If I lose, I die. Yes. Arya's voice hardened. And if I win by killing Lyanna in front of the council, Morgana proves I'm the monster she described. No one answered. The trap was almost perfect. There must be another option. There isn't. The new voice came from the doorway. Zephyr entered calmly. Cade's eyes narrowed. You've been listening. Obviously. Zephyr approached. Did you genuinely expect the two of you to plan Arya's future without me? He stopped beside her chair. Thorn is correct. Arya sighed. Wonderful. But he missed one detail. She looked at him. You do not need to kill Lyanna. Zephyr's expression was calm. Trial by combat ends when one fighter dies, loses consciousness. He paused. Or submits. Arya listened. Defeat Lyanna. He leaned closer. Make an alpha submit to you in front of the council. Understanding spread through Arya. That proves strength without proving cruelty. Exactly. Zephyr smiled. A corrupted monster destroys everything around it. His eyes held hers. A true Luna chooses when not to destroy. Arya looked down at her hands. And if I lose control? Her voice became quieter. If I shift and something takes over? Then we train you until that does not happen, Cade said. 3 days. Thorn grinned. 3 alphas. Zephyr added calmly. And one extremely stubborn Luna wolf. Arya almost laughed. You think 3 days is enough? Nothing about you has been normal so far. Cade replied. Arya looked between them. 3 powerful alphas. 3 potential rivals. 3 men who could easily walk away and allow Morgana to eliminate a future threat. Why? They went silent. Why are you helping me? Arya asked. Any one of you benefits if Morgana succeeds. Cade answered first. I have spent most of my life fighting witches who manipulate wolves. His mouth curved. Watching Morgana fail would be personally satisfying. Thorn grinned. I want to see Gabriel Blackwood's expression when the daughter he called defective walks into the council stronger than his chosen heir. Arya looked at Zephyr. His answer came quietly. Luna wolves appear only once every few centuries. He met her eyes. They are catalysts. For what? Change. Zephyr's gaze softened. And I want to see what kind of world you create. Arya turned toward Elena. Can I really do this? Elena smiled sadly. Your mother once stood against an entire pack that called her weak. Arya's throat tightened. She proved them wrong. Elena glanced toward the 3 alphas. You inherited her blood. Then a faint smile appeared. And you have considerably more support than she did. Arya thought about Silver Creek. Her father. Lyanna. Morgana. Then the enormous silver presence inside her. 3 days. She stood. Power moved around her. You have 3 days. Cade's grin sharpened. To do what? Arya's eyes turned molten silver. To turn me into someone who can walk into a council chamber filled with 12 alphas and a dark witch. Silver sparks ran across her fingers. And make them remember why Luna wolves became legends. 2 days later, Arya was bleeding from more wounds than she could count. Midnight covered Shadowfang's training grounds. Her muscles screamed. Her mind was exhausted. And she had never felt more alive. Again. Cade's voice carried across the field. All 3 alphas were shifted. For 2 days they had pushed Arya beyond every limit she believed she possessed. They taught her how to transform in combat. How to suppress her presence. How to release only enough power for the situation. How to strike precisely instead of simply overwhelming everything around her. Now came the final test. 3 alphas. 1 Luna wolf. Last wolf standing. Arya shifted. The transformation flowed through her like water. Silver light wrapped around her body. Her enormous wolf appeared. Even the light itself had become controllable. She could dim her radiance until she almost disappeared beneath shadows. Or intensify it until an opponent could barely look at her. Cade attacked first. A black blur aimed directly at Arya's throat. She pivoted. Caught his momentum. Then drove him into the earth. Her abilities were not only physical. With concentration, Arya could change how heavy her body became, how quickly she moved. Even the way surrounding force interacted with her. Thorn struck next. He attacked with pure aggression, fast, relentless, testing whether pressure could break her control. Arya met him directly. Their bodies collided. The ground trembled. Then Zephyr appeared. Silent, precise. He attacked Arya's legs, searching for balance weaknesses. He fought completely differently from Thorn. Where Thorn burned, Zephyr flowed. Clever. The Luna wolf sounded amused inside Arya, but not clever enough. Arya released a howl. Not the destructive howl she had used against Morgana's fire. This one was controlled. Focused. Authority swept across the training field. All 3 alphas froze. Only for a heartbeat. But that was enough. Arya moved. One paw pinned Cade. Her jaws closed around Thorn's throat without breaking skin. Her power forced Zephyr flat against the earth. 3 alphas. Defeated. Not through uncontrolled destruction. Through control. Arya released them, then shifted back. She stood beneath the moonlight, exhausted, wounded, breathing hard, but victorious. Well? She looked at them. Did I pass? Cade shifted into human form. He smiled. You didn't pass. Arya lifted an eyebrow. You dominated. Thorn shifted next. He rubbed his throat. Gentle with the teeth. He grinned. I'm impressed. Zephyr transformed more slowly. For several seconds, he simply studied Arya. Then he bowed from the waist. You're ready. Tomorrow, Luna Wolf, the Council will learn exactly what you are capable of. Something changed inside Arya. Not her power. That had already awakened. This was different. For the first time, she stopped thinking of herself as Arya Blackwood, the wolfless daughter everyone pitied or despised. Tomorrow she would face the entire werewolf world, and she would face it as herself. Chapter 6. The Council's Judgment. The gathering grounds belonged to no pack, neutral territory. Ancient law ruled there instead of territorial authority. At its center stood an enormous circular arena carved from white stone. 12 throne-like seats surrounded it, one for each ruling alpha of the Northern Territories. A raised platform occupied the middle, the place where accused wolves stood. Today, Arya would stand there. She arrived at dawn with Cade, Thorn, and Zephyr. The 3 alphas formed a loose protective triangle around her. Arya wore simple white, no jewelry, no ornament. Her dark hair fell freely down her back. Nothing distracted from the woman herself or the power hidden beneath her skin. Remember, Cade walked beside her. Do not let Morgana provoke you before you choose to show them what you are. Confidence, Thorn added, not arrogance. You are not begging these wolves to spare you. His eyes sharpened. You are demanding your rightful place. And if combat comes, Zephyr said, control everything. Arya looked toward him. Let them see that mercy is a choice you make because you are powerful enough to choose it. Arya nodded. Voices thundered beyond the entrance. Hundreds of wolves had gathered. Every major pack had sent witnesses. This was not only a trial, it was entertainment. A spectacle. Are you ready? The Luna wolf spoke inside Arya. Number. Arya admitted it. But I'm going anyway. Good. The wolf's approval warmed her. That is courage. Arya entered the arena. Noise slammed into her. Hundreds of wolves filled the galleries. Alphas, betas, warriors. Representatives from territories across the north. Their scents carried fear, excitement, curiosity, hostility. And beneath everything, dark magic. Arya found Morgana immediately. She sat with the Silver Creek delegation. Black clothing made her look like a grieving mother, concerned for a dangerous stepdaughter. Beside her sat Gabriel. He looked older, tired. His eyes seemed distant. The false mate bond still controlled him. Lyanna sat on the other side. White and gold surrounded her. She met Arya's gaze. There was no false affection left now. Only hatred, jealousy, fear. She knows. Arya thought. She knows I became something she can never be. Silence. Alpha command rolled through the arena. Arya turned toward the council. 12 powerful alphas occupied the stone seats. Alpha Fenris of Ironclaw, ancient, scarred. Alpha Sable of Moonfire, the council's only female alpha. Alpha Darius of Bloodstone, whose territory bordered Silver Creek. And at the center sat Alpha Constantine of Northern Star, the elected leader of the Greater Pack Council. Even seated, Constantine was enormous. Silver hair framed a face carved by decades of command. His pale eyes swept across the arena. Everything became silent. We gather to hear accusations of rogue behavior and possible corruption. His voice required no effort to carry. Alpha Gabriel Blackwood of Silver Creek has brought charges against Arya Blackwood. Constantine looked toward her. Step forward. Arya entered the central platform alone. Council law prevented Cade, Thorn, and Zephyr from joining her during the opening proceedings. You can do this. Her knees felt weaker than she wanted. You are not nothing. You're a monster. Lyanna's voice suddenly rang out. She stood. She nearly killed me. Arya looked at her. She destroyed part of our pack house. She. Alpha Heir Lyanna. Constantine's voice turned sharp enough to cut stone. You will speak when called or you will be removed. Lyanna flushed. She sat. But her hatred remained. Alpha Gabriel. Constantine turned. Present your accusation. Gabriel stood. For one brief instant, Arya saw pain behind his eyes. Then formality replaced it. Honored counsel. His voice was steady. 3 weeks ago, my eldest daughter manifested abilities we initially believed to be a delayed wolf awakening. Arya watched him. However, the circumstances were troubling. He produced records and witness statements. Witnesses described silver fire, more pages, distortion of the surrounding environment, his expression hardened, and power capable of forcing senior pack warriors to their knees against their will. Murmurs moved through the crowd. An entire section of our pack house was destroyed. Several wolves were injured. Arya's jaw tightened. No context. No mention of Morgana's witchfire. No mention of the archives. When confronted, Arya fled rather than submit to Silver Creek justice. The whispers grew louder. Furthermore, Gabriel glanced at Morgana. Our pack witch and Luna examined magical residue from the incident. Arya felt anger rise. Her conclusion indicates corruption. Gabriel faced the council. Dark magic capable of twisting a wolf into something unnatural. Lies. Arya spoke before she could stop herself. Every head turned. She used the dark magic. Morgana's eyes narrowed. She isn't even a wolf. Arya pointed toward her. She's a witch who infiltrated Silver Creek. Silence. Constantine's command struck. Arya forced herself to stop. You will speak when permission is given. Morgana stood slowly, perfectly composed. Council members, I understand Arya's desperation. Her voice carried wounded dignity. But I have served Silver Creek faithfully for 18 years. She lifted documents. I possess records proving my bloodline. Then she produced a small vial. Something inside shimmered. And this contains essence extracted from my shifted wolf. The crowd murmured. Proof of what I am. Arya stared. It was fake. It had to be. But how could she prove it? If I may speak. A woman rose in the witness section. Morgana's face turned white. Elena Shadowmirror stepped forward. This woman is not a credible witness. Morgana snapped. She is a criminal. Her control broke. A traitor to her own coven. Cade rose. She is also the witness whose information led to the destruction of the Darkwater Coven and the arrest of 12 dark witches. Several council members exchanged looks. Her intelligence was confirmed through 3 separate investigations. Constantine raised one hand. Elena Shadowmirror may testify. His eyes hardened. But understand that false testimony before this council carries severe consequences. Elena walked into the arena. She stood beside Arya. Her hands trembled. The wolf essence presented by Luna Vivian is fraudulent. Chaos began immediately. Morgana shouted. Elena continued. It is real wolf essence. She looked directly at Morgana. But it does not belong to her. The arena quieted. It was stolen from a dead wolf and preserved through necromancy. Elena's voice strengthened. A method perfected by the Darkwater Coven. Morgana's face twisted. You're lying. I helped you steal it. Silence. Elena stepped closer. 17 years ago. She stared into Morgana's eyes. Cassandra Nightshade. Morgana went pale. She was 19 years old when she died in what authorities called an accident. The arena erupted. Alphas demanded silence. Wolves shouted. Morgana screamed denials. Elena raised her voice. Morgana Darkwater infiltrated Silver Creek for one reason. She pointed toward Arya. To harvest the power of a Luna wolf. Morgana shook her head violently. Borges Seraphina Blackwood, because Seraphina was too powerful to suppress. Arya's hands clenched. Then, she poisoned Arya from the age of 7. Elena's voice shook with emotion. She kept her dormant while preparing a ritual that would allow Morgana to steal her power. Lies, Morgana screamed. All lies. Then prove it. Elena's answer was quiet. Shift. Morgana froze. Elena stepped closer. Here. Now. Show the council your wolf. No one moved. Morgana's expression cycled through fear, rage, and calculation. I will not prove myself to a criminal. You must. Alpha Sable spoke from the council seats. Pack law is clear. Her voice was hard. When a wolf's nature is formally challenged before the council, that wolf must demonstrate her shift. She leaned forward. Shift, Luna Vivian. Morgana looked around the arena. She was trapped. Then her gaze landed on Liana. Something ugly entered her expression. Fine. Her voice became cold. I will prove my innocence. She lifted one hand toward Arya. But first, perhaps this council should address the real danger. Arya understood what she was doing. The girl who attacked her own pack. Morgana continued. The creature whose presence makes alphas uncomfortable. She stared at Arya. Whether I am a witch or wolf changes nothing if this council allows something corrupted to roam freely. Clever. Shift attention. Make Arya the greater threat. Alpha Fenris studied Arya. The accused does carry unusual power. His ancient voice rumbled across the arena. I can feel it from here. His eyes narrowed, like standing beside a storm. Because she is a Luna wolf. Zephyr stood. His voice carried absolute certainty. The arena reacted instantly. A true Luna wolf. Gasps erupted. The first in 3 centuries. Impossible, Gabriel whispered. Thorn stood beside Zephyr. Is it? Cade joined them. 3 powerful alphas facing the council together. We have seen her abilities. Cade's voice was calm. We trained with her. Thorn nodded. She possesses control. Zephyr finished. Divine power, no corruption. Liana jumped upright. 3 alphas who want to claim her. Her voice was bitter. Of course you defend her. Cade's gaze turned icy. As opposed to a mother who intends to harvest her? Enough. Constantine's command silenced the arena. This proceeding has descended into chaos. He looked toward Arya. We will settle the primary accusation under ancient law. Arya already knew what came next. Trial by combat. The crowd reacted. Constantine's gaze remained on Arya. You are accused of corruption and rogue actions. His voice filled the arena. Do you accept trial by combat to establish your truth? Arya breathed once, then answered. I do. Choose a champion. Constantine paused. Or fight yourself. I fight for myself. A murmur spread through the crowd. Constantine turned toward Gabriel. As alpha of the accusing pack, you may name your champion. Gabriel looked toward Morgana. She whispered something. Arya could not hear it. Then Gabriel's expression hardened. Liana Blackwood. Arya closed her eyes briefly. Of course. She is my acknowledged heir, Gabriel continued. My strongest wolf. He looked toward Arya, and one of the wolves harmed by the accused. Liana stepped forward. White fur began covering her body. Her transformation was still magnificent. Large, powerful, gold-eyed, filled with alpha promise. But Arya smelled the fear. Liana knew. She's sacrificing her. Arya whispered. Morgana did not care what happened to her own daughter. If Liana won, Arya died. If Arya killed Liana, Morgana proved Arya was a monster. Combat begins when both wolves enter the ring. Constantine's voice sounded across the arena. It ends when one submits, loses consciousness. He paused. Or dies. Liana paced at one side. Her white wolf snarled. Aggression covered terror. Arya walked to the opposite side. Every wolf watched her. Every alpha measured her. Show them. The Luna wolf whispered. Show them what we are. Arya closed her eyes. But show them mercy. Her inner wolf's voice softened. Not because they deserve it. Because we choose it. Arya reached inward. Her shift came instantly. Silver light flooded the arena. Her true form appeared in a controlled wave of power. She towered over Liana. Silver fur flowed like liquid moonlight. Molten eyes shone beneath the sky. The crescent on her chest blazed. Tiny stars glittered around it. Her presence rolled across the arena. Gasps became howls. Some wolves cried out, and the 12 ruling alphas went completely silent. Even Constantine stared. Alpha Sable whispered first. "Goddess, preserve us." Her eyes widened. "It's true. A Luna wolf walks among us." Liana's confidence collapsed. Her white wolf was strong, beautiful. Everything in Alpha Air was meant to be. But beside Arya, she looked ordinary. "Begin." Constantine's command cracked through the arena. Liana attacked. She was incredibly fast. A white blur launched toward Arya's throat. Arya did not move. She did not need to. Power formed around her. Liana slowed in midair as though she had entered invisible water. She snarled, fought, forced herself forward. "Submit." Arya touched Liana's mind gently. "You do not have to die here. Submit and we end this." "Never." Liana's answer was filled with fear and rage. "I am the Alpha Heir. I will not bow to you." With sheer determination, Liana broke through the resistance and landed on Arya's back. Teeth bit silver fur. Claws tore. Arya allowed it. Nothing happened. Liana's attacks could not penetrate her hide. After exhausting herself for several moments, she jumped away, panting, confused. "You cannot hurt me." Arya's mental voice remained gentle. "But I can hurt you. Please stop." Liana howled a challenge, then attacked again, and again. Arya defended without injuring her. She let Liana exhaust herself. Let the council witness every failed strike. Eventually, Liana collapsed. Her sides heaved. She had nothing left. Arya walked toward her, slowly. She placed one massive paw against Liana's side. Enough pressure to hold her, not enough to injure her. Then she lowered her head toward Liana's exposed throat. The entire arena held its breath. One bite. That was all it would take. "I could kill you." Arya's voice inside Liana's mind was sad rather than angry. "But I won't." Liana trembled beneath her. "Because you are my sister." Arya remembered 2 young girls before Morgana's influence had turned everything into competition. Before hatred. Before poison. "Submit, Liana. Accept that you lost." Arya's voice softened. "And perhaps someday we can discover whether there is anything left between us worth calling family." For several seconds, Liana did nothing. Then her body relaxed. Her throat exposed completely. Submission. Arya removed her paw. Liana shifted back to human form. She curled against the stone and cried. Humiliated. Exhausted. But alive. Arya shifted back as well. She stood in the center of the arena, unbowed. "The combat is concluded." Constantine sounded almost shaken. "Arya Blackwood is victorious." He looked across the council. "Her testimony is accepted." Silence. "And this council recognizes that Arya Blackwood is indeed a Luna wolf, blessed by the moon goddess." His words carried across the gathering grounds. "Not corrupted. All charges are dismissed." Chaos erupted. Arya barely noticed. Her eyes had found Morgana. The witch was retreating toward an exit. She had lost. Her accusations had collapsed. Elena's testimony would now be investigated. Morgana was running. "Stop her." Arya's voice changed. Luna authority swept across the arena. Every wolf froze. Even most alphas stopped before recovering. Cade, Thorn, and Zephyr moved immediately. They blocked every path. Arya walked toward Morgana. "You murdered my mother." Morgana's face hardened. "You poisoned me for 18 years." Arya stopped before her. "You tried to harvest my power." Silver energy crackled around her. "Did you genuinely believe you would walk away?" Morgana's disguise finally shattered. Her eyes turned black. Her skin became greenish and old. Dark energy coiled around her. You should have stayed dormant. Her voice no longer sounded human. You should have died like your pathetic mother. Arya's power surged. Instead, you're going to watch while I... Green fire exploded from Morgana's hands, but it was not aimed at Arya. It flew toward Lyanna, still exhausted, still defenseless. Arya understood in horror. Morgana was willing to kill her own daughter. Arya shifted in mid-leap. Her Luna Wolf body appeared between Lyanna and the attack. Witchfire struck her chest. Dark energy entered Arya, tried to corrupt her, tried to poison, tried to twist. But something extraordinary happened. The Luna Wolf absorbed it. Darkness became silver. The destructive power transformed into pure moonlight. We belong to the moon. The Luna Wolf purred. Darkness cannot own us. We are the light darkness fears. Arya opened her jaws. She released the converted power, not as destruction, as cleansing light. Morgana screamed. 18 years of spells began unraveling. Illusions burned away. Her false beauty disappeared. A haggard old woman stood beneath it. Her magical power collapsed. Morgana Darkwater. Constantine's command rang through the arena. You stand revealed as a false wolf, dark witch, and murderer. Council enforcers moved forward. The judgment is exile and magical binding. Morgana screamed. No! You will be stripped of your magic, Constantine continued. You will be cast beyond werewolf territory and marked so no recognized pack may shelter you. You can't. Morgana struggled. I have allies. You have nothing. Arya shifted back to human form. She approached Morgana. You took my mother. Her voice was quiet. My childhood. My sense of worth. She looked directly into the witch's eyes. But you failed. Morgana trembled. Because what you tried to destroy was never yours. Arya leaned close. My mother's spirit is free. Her eyes flashed silver. My power belongs to me. She straightened. And you are nothing but proof of what happens when someone underestimates a wolf blessed by the goddess. Morgana's resistance disappeared. Pack enforcers placed silver chains around her. The binding ritual began. Arya turned. Gabriel stood nearby. Her father stared at her as though seeing her for the first time. Arya. His voice broke. I didn't know. Arya said nothing. She had me under a spell. The mate bond. I couldn't see what she was doing. I know. Gabriel stepped toward her. I'm sorry. Arya looked at him. For years she had imagined making him understand what he had done. She had imagined screaming, demanding answers. But the man before her looked broken. Still, one truth mattered. The spell affected you. Arya spoke quietly. But you still chose to believe the worst about me. Gabriel flinched. You chose to strip my name from me, instead of protecting me. She shook her head. That part was you. Tears entered Gabriel's eyes. I'm sorry. His voice cracked. I'm so sorry. I know. Arya's anger remained. But it no longer owned her. Maybe one day I'll forgive you. Gabriel looked hopeful. But not today. His face fell. Today I need to discover who I am without your approval. Arya looked toward Lyanna. Healers were helping her stand. Take care of your other daughter. She met Gabriel's eyes. She needs you more than I do. Arya turned away from the pack that had rejected her. Cade, Thorn, and Zephyr waited. 3 alphas. 3 very different expressions carrying the same things. Respect, desire, and something deeper. Thorn broke the silence first. So, his familiar grin returned. What does a Luna Wolf do after defeating a dark witch and forcing the Greater Pack Council to acknowledge her? Arya laughed. For the first time in what felt like years, the sound came easily. I have absolutely no idea. She looked at the 3 men. This situation was not included in the Luna Wolf handbook. Zephyr blinked. There's a handbook? No, Arya smiled. That was a joke. Then she became serious. But I do know one thing. The three alphas listened. I am not choosing a mate because politics tells me to. Cade nodded. I'm not claiming territory because tradition tells me to. Thorn's smile faded into approval. And I am definitely not allowing any alpha to decide who or what I am supposed to become. Good, Cade said. His answer was immediate. We wouldn't want you any other way. Although, Thorn lifted one finger. If you happen to need allies, Cade sighed. Friends, Zephyr added, or several highly competitive suitors prepared to embarrass themselves fighting for your attention. Arya laughed again. Warmth spread through her chest. Not love. Not yet. Possibility. Hope. Freedom. I'll remember that. Behind her, the council was already debating what Arya's existence meant. Territories. Politics. Pack hierarchy. Let them debate. Arya Blackwood walked out of the arena with her head high. No longer wolfless. No longer broken. No longer nothing. Chapter 7. The Luna's Choice. The territory had no name when Arya first received it. It was an untouched valley lying between three mountain ranges. Forests surrounded a lake that reflected moonlight like silver glass. After the council trial, the territory had been offered to Arya, partly as recognition, partly, she suspected, because established alphas preferred keeping a Luna wolf away from their borders and politics. Arya accepted anyway. Then she transformed the empty valley into something no traditional pack had created before. Luna's haven, a sanctuary. Wolves who had been rejected elsewhere began arriving. Wolfless wolves. Late bloomers. Rogues accused of things they had not done. Those who had been pushed aside because they were considered weak, strange, inconvenient, or undesirable. Rumors spread about a Luna wolf who had once been rejected herself. Someone who understood. 6 months later, 63 wolves lived in Luna's haven. They built homes, training spaces, a communal hall. There was no enormous alpha residence towering above everyone else. No rigid structure designed to constantly remind low-ranking wolves where they belonged. Everyone worked. Everyone contributed. Everyone mattered. No one was worthless. Arya did not lead them as a traditional alpha. She was creating something different, something older, something new, a true Luna. You're brooding again. Arya turned from the overlook above the valley. Esther approached. 2 months earlier, her grandmother had finally abandoned Silver Creek and moved permanently to Luna's haven. Freedom appeared to have made her younger. I'm not brooding. Arya looked back toward the lake. I'm contemplating. Ah. Esther nodded solemnly. Entirely different. Arya smiled. What are you contemplating? Esther joined her. The 3 alphas circling your borders like lovesick pups? Arya groaned. The council delegation arriving tomorrow? Another sigh. Or Gabriel's request to see you? Arya became quiet. All of it, but the final question weighed most heavily. He says Morgana's remaining influence is gone. Esther listened. He says he wants to make amends. And? I don't know. Arya gripped the railing. Part of me wants my father back. Her voice softened. Then I remember 18 years of being invisible to him. She shook her head. How am I supposed to forgive that? You don't. Arya looked at Esther. Not all at once. The older woman's voice was practical. Forgiveness is not a switch. She rested her hands on the railing. It is a decision made repeatedly, until carrying the pain becomes easier. Arya looked away. But refusing to even speak with him is not necessarily protection. Esther watched her. Sometimes it is simply fear choosing for you. Before Arya could answer, commotion rose from the settlement below. Excited voices. Then Arya sensed 3 familiar sources of alpha power entering the territory. The Luna wolf laughed inside her. All three. Of course. Arya sighed. This should be interesting. Cade, Thorn, and Zephyr had developed an uncanny habit of arriving simultaneously. She suspected it was intentional. By the time Arya entered the main hall, the expected circus had already started. Cade stood in the center, dark, serious, arms folded. Thorn leaned against a wall, looking entertained by everything. Zephyr sat casually on the edge of a table, observing them all. Luna's Haven wolves watched with barely hidden amusement. This happened regularly now. The three alphas arrived with trade offers, political information, supplies, gifts, or excuses. And every visit somehow turned into competitive courtship. Gentlemen, Arya entered. What an unexpected surprise. Thorn smiled. All three of you. She crossed her arms. At exactly the same time. Another smile. It almost seems deliberate. It is absolutely deliberate, Thorn said. We can't risk allowing one competitor unsupervised time. Cade ignored him. I brought supplies. Several Shadowfang wolves carried crates inside. Rare medicinal herbs. Your healer said last month that the supply was running low. Arya looked toward Zephyr. Books. He gestured toward another stack. Early histories of northern packs. His expression became innocent. Several mention ancient Luna wolves. Of course they do. And I, Thorn dramatically raised one hand, have brought the most vital resource. He whistled. One of his wolves carried in an enormous crate. Arya smelled it before seeing the contents. Chocolate? Human chocolate. Thorn looked proud. Excellent quality. Excellent quality. Arya stared at him. Why? Because even divine Luna wolves occasionally need something sweet. Arya laughed despite herself. You are ridiculous. Ridiculously devoted. Thorn corrected. Ridiculously competitive, Cade muttered. Ridiculously patient, Zephyr added. His eyes settled on Arya. Considering you still haven't chosen any of us. There it was. The question every wolf in Luna's Haven knew about. 3 of the Northern Territory's strongest unmated alphas, all courting the same Luna wolf. It should have felt romantic. Mostly, it felt complicated. Can we speak privately? The humor faded from Arya's voice. All 4 of us. They followed her to her quarters. The room was modest. Arya had refused every suggestion to build herself a grand residence. She remembered the servants' quarters too clearly. Being Luna did not mean she needed to live above everyone around her. Once the door shut, the mood changed. Cade spoke first. You're going to reject all 3 of us. Arya blinked. That was direct. I know the expression on your face. Cade leaned against the wall. I've seen it in my own mirror. He studied her. You spent years in a cage. His voice softened. And now you're afraid of entering another one, even if the new cage is beautiful. I don't think of any of you as cages. Perhaps not intentionally. Zephyr's tone was gentle. But we are alphas. He stood. We have territories, political duties, pack alliances. He watched her. If you chose one of us, those responsibilities would become part of your life. Arya knew he was right. You built Luna's Haven partly because you wanted freedom from exactly those structures. Thorn had gone unusually quiet. We've been selfish. Arya looked toward him. We've been pursuing you like 3 wolves competing for a trophy. There was no humor in his face now. Instead of giving you room to become a person, Arya's chest tightened. I care about all of you. She looked from one alpha to another. You protected me. You trained me. You helped me discover what I am. But, Cade finished for her. You need to discover who Arya is when nobody else defines her. Relief rushed through her. Yes, she sat. For 18 years, everyone told me what I wasn't. Her voice became quiet. Wolfless. Worthless. Broken. She looked at her hands. Then I awakened and suddenly everyone wanted to define me by what I had become. Divine. Powerful. A weapon. A political prize. Her gaze lifted. I need time to decide what I want. Then take it, Thorn answered. We'll wait. That isn't fair to you. Allow us to decide what is fair to us, Zephyr said. He smiled slightly. We are not fragile. Cade's mouth twitched. Besides, your inability to choose has stopped the three of us from fighting over at least 4 territorial disputes. Arya stared. So I'm maintaining peace through indecision? Exactly. Thorn brightened. A great political strategy. Arya laughed. So nothing changes? We continue visiting. Cade nodded. Competing, Thorn added. Bringing increasingly unnecessary gifts, Arya said. Essential gifts, Thorn corrected. Zephyr smiled. And your pack continues gossiping about us. This is a circus. Thorn shrugged. A circus can be romantic. Before Arya could answer, someone knocked. One of her scouts opened the door. His name, ironically enough, was Gabriel. Luna? Arya immediately heard the concern in his voice. What happened? There's a wolf at the southern border asking for sanctuary. Arya stood. She's injured. The scout hesitated. Terrified. His expression became uncomfortable. And she says she came from Silver Creek. Arya's pulse changed. She says she's your sister. Silence. Lyanna. 1 hour later, Arya entered the healer's den. She almost did not recognize the woman lying on the bed. Lyanna had always been radiant. Perfect hair, perfect clothing, proud posture. Now she was painfully thin. Dark circles surrounded her eyes. Her golden hair was tangled. Half-healed wounds covered her arms and shoulders. When she saw Arya, desperation crossed her face. You came. I wasn't sure you would. Arya sat across from her. What happened? Father. The bitterness in Lyanna's voice surprised her. After Morgana was exiled, the broken mate bond nearly destroyed him. She looked toward the window. He became paranoid. Controlling. He saw enemies everywhere. A broken laugh escaped her. Especially when he looked at me. Why you? Lyanna stared at Arya. Because I look like her. Tears formed. She raised me. She trained me. She favored me. Lyanna wiped her face. Father started wondering whether I was corrupted too. Arya remained quiet. He thought maybe I was another witch. Her voice cracked. I'm not. She looked desperately at Arya. I swear I'm not. What did he do? Tests. Lyanna looked away. Council examinations. Questioning. They found nothing. Her laugh sounded empty. But Father still didn't believe me. So you ran. Lyanna nodded. He planned to strip my heir status. Arya went still. Reduce me to Omega. The irony was impossible to ignore. As punishment for my mother's crimes. Lyanna met Arya's eyes. Sound familiar? It did. Painfully. Why come here? Arya asked. Of every place in the Northern Territories, why come to me? Because you understand. Lyanna's answer came immediately. You know what it is like when Father rejects you. Her eyes filled again. To have power and still be called worthless. To lose everything because of something you never chose. She reached toward Arya. Please. Arya did not move. I know I was cruel. Lyanna's hand dropped. I mocked you. Hurt you. Made your life miserable. Her voice broke. Morgana raised me to see you as competition. That doesn't excuse what you did. I know. Lyanna nodded quickly. I know it doesn't. Her shoulders shook. I'm not asking you to forgive me. She looked directly at Arya. I'm asking for sanctuary. A chance. Her fingers trembled. A chance to prove I am not the monster my mother tried to create. Arya said nothing. If you send me away, I have nowhere else. Lyanna whispered. No pack wants the disgraced heir of Silver Creek. She swallowed. I'll probably die outside established territory. Arya looked at her half-sister. The girl who had once called her a defect now looked exactly as Arya had felt for years. Rejected, terrified, begging for one chance. "What do you think?" Arya asked her Luna wolf. "Truth," the wolf answered. "No deception, no dark magic, only grief, regret, fear." Then the presence inside her became quiet. "But the decision belongs to you. Justice or mercy, revenge or another chance. What kind of Luna do you want to become?" Arya remembered everything Lyanna had done, every insult, every humiliating moment. Every time she deliberately made Arya feel smaller. Then Arya thought about Luna's haven, a sanctuary created for wolves nobody else wanted. "You can stay." Lyanna stared. Hope appeared in her face. "But there are conditions. Anything. You enter this pack as an equal." Arya's voice became firm. "Not an heir. Not an alpha's daughter. Not someone special. You work. You train. You contribute." Lyanna nodded. "And if anyone here tells me you treated them with cruelty or acted as though you were above them..." Arya held her gaze. "You leave." "I understand. One more thing." Arya leaned forward. "You apologize to everyone here you ever insulted or mistreated when you were part of Silver Creek." Lyanna's face crumpled. "You admit what you did." Arya continued. "You make amends. Not because I force you. Because real strength requires taking responsibility." Lyanna nodded through tears. "I will. I promise." Arya stood. "The healer will continue treating you." She turned toward the door. "When you recover, we will find work for you." Arya looked back once. "Welcome to Luna's haven, Lyanna." A faint smile appeared. "Try not to ruin it." She left before Lyanna saw tears forming in her own eyes. Cade waited outside. He did not ask questions. He simply pulled Arya against him. For several seconds, she allowed herself to shake. "That was difficult," he murmured. "That was necessary." Arya stepped back. "If I cannot offer my own sister one opportunity to become better, what does this sanctuary mean?" "You're a better person than I am." Cade smiled faintly. "I would have sent her away." "No, you wouldn't." Arya looked at him. "You shelter rogues. Defectors. You understand that sometimes people who hurt others are also hurting." Cade's expression became thoughtful. "That doesn't mean we have to forgive them." "No," Arya agreed. "But sometimes we can give them the chance to change." 2 days later, the Greater Pack Council delegation arrived. Constantine came personally. Alpha Sable accompanied him, along with 2 other council representatives. Formal gifts were exchanged. Ceremonial greetings were offered. But Arya sensed the tension beneath every polite word. They met inside Luna's Haven's council hall. Not a throne room. A large communal chamber where important decisions were discussed. Luna Arya. Constantine used her new title. "The Greater Pack Council has observed the growth of this territory with considerable interest." Arya waited. "In 6 months, you established a stable community," he continued. "You resolved several disputes with neighboring packs and provided sanctuary to dozens of displaced wolves." Constantine inclined his head. "It is impressive." "Thank you." Arya smiled slightly. "But there's a problem." Constantine's mouth twitched. "Direct. Life is easier that way." "Yes." He nodded. "There is concern." Arya crossed her arms. "Luna's Haven operates outside traditional pack hierarchy," Constantine continued. "No alpha. No formal ranking structure. No established succession." Alpha Sable joined him. "Some council members fear what happens if you become incapacitated, or if Luna's Haven grows beyond your ability to lead alone." Arya understood. "You want me to choose an alpha?" Sable did not deny it. "A Luna alpha pair is traditional. And preferably, I choose one of the 3 alphas courting me." Arya's tone turned dry. Constantine looked almost amused. Such a choice would reassure the old guard. Arya looked around the hall. 63 wolves watched. Wolves who had trusted her to create something different. They want to put us into their old structure, the Luna wolf growled. Maybe. Arya answered silently. Or maybe they genuinely fear instability. Either way, we set boundaries. I understand the council's concern. Arya faced Constantine. But Luna's Haven will not adopt a traditional alpha hierarchy. Constantine began to speak. Arya lifted one hand. I do accept the need for succession and clearer government. The room remained silent. So I propose an internal council. She looked toward her wolves. 5 members elected by Luna's Haven. They will assist with decisions and have authority to lead if I am unable to. Arya continued. We will formalize our laws, territory boundaries, and relationship with the greater Pack Council. Constantine considered it. And the question of your mate? That is not council business. Arya's answer came immediately. When or if I choose a mate, I will choose because I want that person. Her power subtly filled the room. Not because political tradition demands it. She held Constantine's gaze. Luna's Haven will never become territory won through marriage. The council may refuse. Then the council can attempt to remove me. Arya's voice changed. Power crackled through it. Every wolf in the room felt the shift. I defeated an alpha champion. She stepped forward. I defeated a dark witch. Another step. I earned legal recognition through your own ancient laws. Her eyes flashed silver. If the council believes it can force me into anything, the room became colder. You are welcome to try. Silence. Then Constantine laughed. Not mockingly. Genuinely. You have teeth, Luna. Arya's power settled. Good. He stood. The council occasionally needs reminding that strength does not always take familiar forms. Constantine offered a formal bow. Your proposal is acceptable. Relief moved through Arya. Luna's Haven remains autonomous, subject to formal recognition of its internal council and laws. We will put the terms to vote. Thank you. After the delegation left, Arya finally breathed freely. She had stood her ground without starting a war. That's our Luna, her wolf purred. That night, the full moon rose. Tradition required no ceremony at Luna's Haven, only a run. Wolves being wolves. Arya shifted. Silver light surrounded her. Then she ran. 63 wolves followed. Strong wolves. Weak wolves. Wolves who once had nowhere to belong. They raced through forests. Hunted. Played. Howled beneath the moon. When they returned shortly before dawn, someone stood beyond the territory line. Alone. Gabriel Blackwood. Arya stopped. Her wolves immediately moved around her. Protective. She shifted back. Father. Gabriel looked older than Arya had ever seen him. Arya. His voice was rough. I know I have no right to come here. Arya waited. I know I lost the privilege of calling you my daughter when I... He struggled to continue. When I chose wrong. His voice broke. Again and again. Arya's throat tightened. But I needed to see you. Gabriel looked across the valley. Your mother would be proud. Arya inhaled sharply. Of what you built. He looked at her. Of who you became. The words hurt more than insults ever had. You didn't know her. Arya's voice held no cruelty. Not completely. Morgana took her away before either of us understood what we had lost. I knew enough to love her. Gabriel's answer was quiet. And I see her every time I look at you. Arya said nothing. Her strength. Her compassion. Her refusal to accept the world simply because everyone told her it could not change. Gabriel remained outside the border. He did not enter. I failed you. His eyes lowered. I failed Serafina. I allowed a witch to turn me against everything I was supposed to protect. He breathed shakily. And I know saying I'm sorry does not repair 18 years. Arya studied him, once her hero. Then one of the people who hurt her most. Now simply a broken man asking for a chance. Esther's words returned. Forgiveness is not a switch. You're right. Gabriel looked up. Sorry doesn't fix it. Hope disappeared from his face. But it can be a beginning. His eyes widened. Arya gestured toward the border. Cross. He did not move. Come see what I built. Arya looked toward her pack. Meet wolves who chose to follow a Luna without an alpha. Then she faced him again. And if you can spend more time listening than talking. Her voice softened. Maybe we can discover what kind of relationship is still possible. Gabriel's eyes filled. You would allow that? I am offering a chance. Arya stopped him before hope became expectation. Not complete forgiveness. Not absolution. A chance. She nodded toward the border. What happens after that depends on you. Gabriel crossed as though stepping onto sacred ground. Tears ran down his face. This is harder than fighting. Arya told her wolf. Why is mercy always harder? Because fighting is simple. The Luna wolf answered. Mercy is complicated. That is why it has power. 1 month later, 80 wolves called Luna's haven home. More arrived every week. The internal council had been established. Esther served beside a former rogue named Thomas, a young wolf who experienced prophetic dreams, and 2 other representatives elected by the community. They met every week. They debated decisions, solved problems, and protected the principles Luna's haven had been founded upon. Liana kept her promise. She apologized. Not casually, not with excuses. She stood before every wolf she had wronged and admitted what she had done. Then she began working in the kitchens. The former golden heir of Silver Creek started at the bottom. Some wolves eventually accepted her. Others remained suspicious. But Liana worked, and she continued trying. Gabriel visited twice every week. He did not attempt to command. He did not offer unwanted advice. He worked alongside everyone else. Listened, learned. Sometimes conversations with Arya remained uncomfortable. Sometimes they hurt. But they were moving forward. Cade, Thorn, and Zephyr continued their strange courtship. Only now they seemed determined to prove themselves through actions rather than gifts alone. Cade helped defend Luna's haven when rogues attacked. Thorn negotiated a trade agreement that significantly benefited the sanctuary. Zephyr brought intelligence that prevented a territorial conflict before it became a war. They still competed, but increasingly, they competed to become better allies. Better alphas. Perhaps better potential partners. One evening, Esther found Arya at the Overlook. So? Arya glanced at her. So what? Have you made any decisions? About? Esther gave her a dry look. Do not play foolish with me. Arya smiled. Your 3 lovesick alphas. Esther continued. Your father. Your future. Arya looked over Luna's haven. Maybe I don't need to decide everything. That sounds suspiciously like avoiding the question. Fine. Arya laughed softly. Then she became serious. I'm not ready to choose a mate. Esther listened. Perhaps I never will be. Arya looked toward the settlement. But I think I'm ready to try forgiving father. Her eyes softened. Try. That matters. And I'm ready to make Luna's haven permanent. Arya's voice strengthened. Something that changes how packs think about worth. Esther raised an eyebrow. Ambitious. Necessary. Arya looked toward the moon. The traditions that allowed wolves like me to be discarded need to change. She smiled. If a Luna wolf cannot challenge them, who will? Esther's expression softened. Your mother would be proud. I hope so. Arya stared upward. I hope wherever she is, she understands that I did not become what anyone expected. She breathed slowly. Not an alpha. Not a political prize. Her smile returned. Just myself. Powerful. Imperfect. Free. Movement below caught Arya's attention. 3 familiar alphas entered Luna's haven together. Again. They carried lumber. Esther followed Arya's gaze. What are those 3 doing now? No idea. Arya laughed. But judging by their history, probably something competitive and unnecessary. She walked down. Cade, Thorn, and Zephyr were arguing beside piles of building materials. Arya stared at the framework taking shape. Are you building a larger training ground? Cade nodded. Apparently. You started construction without asking me. It's a gift. For the pack, Thorn quickly added. Not specifically for you, Zephyr said. He paused. Although individual expressions of gratitude would not be rejected, Arya shook her head. You 3 are impossible. Impossibly devoted, Thorn corrected. Impossibly patient, Cade added. Zephyr placed one hand over his heart. Impossibly in love with a Luna who refuses to choose any of us. Arya looked at the 3 men, then smiled. Yet. Silence. Thorn blinked. Arya enjoyed his expression. I haven't chosen yet. She pointed toward them. Perhaps someday, once I know what I actually want, one of you may be the answer. She shrugged. Or perhaps I'll surprise everyone. Cade smiled. We can wait. No pressure? Take as long as you need. Thorn grinned. The competition is entertaining anyway. Zephyr's expression became sincere. And watching you become the Luna you were meant to become is worth waiting for. Warmth spread through Arya. Friends. Allies. Perhaps someday something more. For now, it was enough. The moon rose higher. Wolves began emerging from their homes. They gathered for the night run. Arya shifted. Her silver form illuminated the settlement. She lifted her head and howled. Not a challenge. Not a claim. Only joy. The wolves of Luna's haven answered. 3 powerful alphas lowered their heads in respect. Arya looked at the sanctuary she had created. She had spent 18 years being told she was worthless. 6 months proving she was powerful. Now she was finally learning something more important. How to be free. And freedom might have been the greatest power she had discovered. 1 year later, the Greater Pack Council called an unprecedented gathering. Every ruling alpha in the Northern Territories attended. Lunas. Pack representatives. Hundreds of wolves. Arya arrived with Luna's haven behind her. Her sanctuary now counted 147 wolves. Lyanna walked beside Arya. She was no longer an outcast. After an entire year of work, responsibility, training, and genuine change, she had earned the position of Beta within Luna's haven. Gabriel walked on Arya's other side. He was no longer Alpha of Silver Creek. He had voluntarily stepped down. Now he served as an elder in Arya's territory, while continuing to repair the relationships his failures had damaged. Behind them walked Cade, Thorn, and Zephyr. Over the year, the 3 alphas had gradually stopped trying to outdo one another at every opportunity. They learned to cooperate. Other packs had begun calling them the Luna's Guard. Lyanna looked nervously toward the council platform. You think they're finally going to recognize Luna's haven officially? They'd better. Arya smiled. We've given them enough evidence that this works. Constantine stood before the crowd. 1 year ago, a Luna wolf appeared for the first time in 3 centuries. Silence spread. Many wolves feared what her existence would mean. His gaze swept across the assembled packs. Would she dominate us? Destroy old structures? Disrupt everything our packs built? Arya's fingers tightened slightly. Instead, Constantine looked toward her. She did something far more radical. He paused. She created. The crowd listened. She built a sanctuary that challenged assumptions about pack hierarchy. About strength. About worth. About who deserves to belong. Arya felt emotion rising. Luna's haven accepted the rejected, and gave them the opportunity to become strong. Constantine continued. It demonstrated that new traditions can exist beside old ones. His expression softened, and it reminded us that the moon goddess does not offer blessings in only one form. The gathered wolves murmured. Therefore, Constantine's voice strengthened. The Greater Pack Council formally recognizes Luna's Haven as sovereign territory. Arya stopped breathing. Arya Luna Wolf is acknowledged as its rightful leader. Constantine paused. Not as Alpha. Some wolves shifted uneasily. But as Luna, the first sovereign territory in recorded werewolf history, led solely through Luna authority. The gathering grounds erupted. Cheers. Shock. Howls. Constantine raised one hand. There is more. The crowd quieted slowly. The council proposes a new tradition. He looked toward Arya. Every year, on this date, we will gather not merely to celebrate dominance and strength, his voice carried across the arena, but mercy, innovation, and the understanding that power takes many forms. He smiled faintly. It will be called the Luna's Gathering. Tears filled Arya's eyes. This was more than recognition of her. It recognized every wolf who had ever been told they were not enough. Formal speeches continued. But something at the edge of the gathering caught Arya's attention. Silver hair. A woman stood among the crowd. Translucent, softly glowing. Arya's heart stopped. She looked exactly like the portraits Arya had seen as a child. Storm-colored eyes. A strong, beautiful face. A familiar smile Arya remembered only from dreams. Mother. Seraphina smiled. Her lips moved. Arya could not hear the words, but she understood them. I'm proud of you. Then the figure dissolved. Silver light rose toward the moon. Arya turned toward Esther. Did you see? I saw. Tears streamed down Esther's face. The goddess allowed her to witness this. Arya looked upward. Her mother had given her life. The goddess had given her power. But Arya had discovered her purpose herself, and that was enough. 2 years later, 12 pups crowded around Arya beneath the evening sky. Tell us again, Luna. Arya laughed. The pups had all been born in Luna's Haven. They had grown up without anyone telling them they were worthless. Story time beneath the stars had become tradition. All right. Arya sat on the grass. The children immediately surrounded her. Once upon a time, she looked at their excited faces. There was a girl everyone said had no wolf. The pups grew silent. They called her broken. Arya smiled faintly. They called her nothing. She looked toward the moon, but they didn't know she carried something more powerful than any ordinary wolf. As Arya told them the story, her story, 3 familiar presences settled nearby. Cade, Thorn, Zephyr. They listened to a story they had eventually become part of. Arya still had not chosen between them. Perhaps one day she would. Perhaps she never would. Perhaps she would choose one. Perhaps all 3. Perhaps none. For the first time in her life, uncertainty did not frighten her. Because the decision belonged entirely to her, she did not need to choose tonight, tomorrow, or ever. She was free, powerful, loved, and completely herself. When the story ended, one pup raised a hand. What happened to the girl? Arya looked around. At Luna's Haven. Her pack. Her family. Her home. She stopped trying to become what everyone else demanded. Arya smiled, and became everything she was meant to be. Another pup leaned forward. Did she live happily ever after? Arya laughed softly. No. The children looked disappointed. She lived bravely ever after. Their expressions changed. Which is better? Why? Because happiness can be a moment. Arya looked up as the full moon rose over Luna's Haven. But bravery? Her eyes turned silver. Bravery lasts. The pups smiled. Arya stood and shifted. Silver light spread through the sanctuary. The wolf once mocked as wolfless lifted her head toward the goddess who had never forgotten her. Arya howled. Her pack answered. Around her, alphas bowed their heads, but the Luna remained free,